Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Hally back again. Gvg Podcast, Detroit representative to the day that I die, East Side in the building. It's your main man. I'm back. You know how we do. How everybody doing out there today? I hope everybody's ears is ready for some hearing. I hope everybody's brain is ready for some understanding. I hope everybody's heart is open. And, turn your antennas up on today. Today, your boy gonna be talking about something that you may deal with, you may not deal with. We're talking about that UAW strike. Now, they have over 150,000 workers who are in this union, and Shawn Fain is going hard. I mean, he's literally crumbling up papers and playing basketball with them. 46% wage increase. I don't know if it's over the years or if that's just off jump. They want the 32-hour work week and want to get paid 40 hours for it. They want, the pensions to come back. They want cost of living, inflation adjustments. They have a bunch of things that they feel that they need to address. So I don't know. It is Stellantis, Ford, GM. The proposals that they proceeded to present to them in the past, they literally crumbled them up and screamed out Michael Jordan in the process of making a basket. So I don't necessarily know what to say, but I know that I know a lot of people who are factory workers. Of course, I'm from Michigan, Detroit to be exact. And I know a lot of people who will be affected by this, people who work for the big three and people who supply to the big three. There are a lot of people who work at shops who are not unionized with the UAW, and they are at risk of having unemployment or being unemployed based on the strike that is supposedly going to happen. 11:59 a.m. September 14th. That's a Thursday. So President Shawn Fain he's saying that he doesn't want to strike, but he's saying that he will strike. So the companies are making proposals. They're saying, we can give you 14.5%, and Fain was like, Kobe. He threw that in the trash. So I think it's a standstill at the moment, but I just think about people that I know, people that I'm close to, people who are in other unions that are not fighting for them. There is a union out that signs, they did some backhanded things and they paid people to sign contracts for 10 years, a 10-year union contract. This is unheard of in that world. My opinion on the situation is I do believe that workers are entitled to more, but I also know that some of the things that we do, anybody off the street can come and do. So there's this catch-22 of we break our backs. I've worked in the factories myself, so this is not a politician that's just trying to get votes or likes or something. I've literally worked in factories my whole life, through my whole career of music, through my whole career of podcasting, through my whole career of being a father. I've worked at steel plants. I've worked at plastic plants. I've worked at bumper shops. I've worked at, some prominent places who deliver and who supply to these places, who supplies to Stellantis, who supplies to Ford and GM. And we break our backs in these places. We literally, from the time that we go in to the time that we leave, we are breaking our backs. I know that many days I've had to just soak in the bathtub, just had to ice my legs down, had runner's itch, just felt like I was jumping out of my skin when I got home, maybe an hour or two later after my body calmed down from walking 10 miles a day with bumpers in my hand. You know, this is a real thing. This is not something that I'm claiming to know, but I haven't done it. I've actually done these things. You know, and this auto industry is something that Michigan has always thrived in. And if you look up the profits, these companies are making billions. The union says the companies need to share some of these billions. They've recorded all of these billions of dollars in profits over the years. And the cost of living is going up. You know, I remember it was $5 for a pack of eggs. It was $5 for some gas. You know, someone said a person should be able to work 40 hours a week and still be able to take care of their family. The 32-hour work week, I don't think that they necessarily want to work 32 hours and get paid for 40 hours, but I think it's more of a negotiation of they've been working 6 and 7 days, some people 12 hours for years, for months. You know, at the plants I've worked, we were working 6 days, 7 days, and you work 10 hours some days, you know, and these plants, they are on you. They are slave drivers. People in these plants, we work like the Hebrews of the Bible. We are building their empire. We are building their boat, and we are going home. No one thinks about when you go home after work and you need to wear, put an ice pack on or have a heating pad or sit in the tub for 2 hours or have someone rub you down because you've been working all day, and the wear and tear on your body is just something else. So do I stand with the UAW? I do. I do think that there are things that may be far-fetched. I do think that there are things that we maybe sometimes overvalue ourselves, but I think it's a case of these people are making billions in profits, and we're making life choices on gas and milk. So when it gets to that point, that's when I stand. I don't stand for the crying. I don't stand for all of the excess, because this is a job that any geek off the street can do. But there's value in a great worker. And I've noticed from a lot of the places that I've worked at that they don't value good workers. You're as valuable as you being there. They have all of these crazy point systems. Most of these unions who are not the UAW, they don't fight for you. You don't even know who the people are who are representing you. They just take your money. It's almost like it's racketeering in a sense. So I want people to understand that there's a wide spectrum. There are people who don't think this should happen, and there are people who do think this should happen. There are some people who are saying, stop whining, stop crying, and just go to work. And then there are people who are saying, I understand and I side with you because you are the one who is making this company profit. But then we have to go back to money. Who owns this business? Who puts the money? Who rents the building or buys the buildings? Who buys the machines? Who buys the steel? Who buys the parts? Those are the owners. So we always have to understand, like, if you were in the streets and the big dope man gave you the dope, he's going to always get a bigger cut than you. That's just how it works. But at the end of the day, the dope people they can't say I need a raise. They just have to get more dope. So it should be more civilized in the sense of saying, you're not a drug dealer and we're not working for you selling drugs. This is a legitimate company who makes legitimate profits. And at the end of the day, if you're making out of the box, record profits, some of that should trickle down to your workers. We live in a time where minimum wage hasn't changed. It hasn't went up too much. The cost of living has went up. But the Bible talks about a person having to work all day just to buy food. Are we in that time? Because if you make $10 or $16 or $20, you have to work a whole hour to buy one meal. So this is a time that we're living in where, yes, the UAW may have some strong demands, but they are looking at, we are trying to help the fellow man who some of these people don't have enough money, but they bust their humps every day just building your empire and building your ship. While you go out on your yachts and you pay the CEOs all of the money and you pay all of the higher ups all of the money. Meanwhile, the little guy is the one that's getting the shaft. So I'm not mad at Sean Fain. I'm not mad at him at all. Because I understand that this is a big thing. So now this just in, the UAW lowers demand for pay raises to the mid 30% range. And I knew it. I told people today. They said 46%, but they're willing to do 30, 35%. They just want to know that you care. And that's one of the things that people don't understand about this. These big companies, they treat us as if they don't care. It's not just auto workers, it's every industry. Whatever you do for these people, they're only going to treat you with what you do. If you sign that contract to say I'm working for $16 an hour, that's what you're going to get. If you volunteer for $18, that's what you're going to get. So now you have people out here saying, well, this strike and you wanting all of this extra money is going to cause the auto industry to be more expensive. So now when you go to buy a car, a used car, a new car, the expenses will be higher. Do you blame that on the workers? Or do you blame that on the greedy people who are saying, I have to recuperate this money somehow? Even though they have houses or homes, for my trolls. They have homes, they have cars, they have money out the wazoo. They have, they go to the golf course and play with all the big wigs and smoke cigars and drink, the finest champagnes at the country clubs. Their children don't want for anything. They have the best of everything while we go home to our barking dogs, our nagging husbands and wives, and our crazy children on that block paying a mortgage that we know we probably will end up losing, paying these bills. Consumers just signed something where they can hike the bill up. I think our bills are going to go up $4 or $5 based on what we use. DTE just signed a bill where the peak hours between 3 and 7, they can charge you more. The water bill is going up, water and sewerage. When you go to the grocery store, you buy 4 things and it's $50. We are living in a time where gas is a lot. And these paychecks that we are getting, they aren't enough. So when it comes to this UAW strike, just like the UPS just went on strike and like the Amazon workers go on strike, there's always going to be this fine line of, do they deserve it? And then there's always this back end of the owner saying, this is why we need robots. This is why we need to invest in robots, because people are going to start to think that they're worth more than they actually are. Because you can get into these factories with a diploma. You can get into most of these factories without a diploma. You can get into some of these factories being a felon. So should a worker who puts a bumper on a car or puts a headlight on something or fixes a door, should they make more money than a nurse or someone who went to college? Someone who went to a university and had to spend 4 years or 6 years or 8 years getting associates and bachelors and masters? Should the workers who work at auto factories be able to strike their way into making as much money as the people who just went to school, went to college and earned their honors to be what they are today? That's a tough question. It's all about importance. So it's your boy Hally. We talking about this UAW thing. I know that this hits home with a lot of people, mostly the older generation, the 30 somethings, the 40 somethings, some of the 20 somethings, and this UAW thing, some people don't believe it's big, but it's big. Because if they strike, it's going to affect a lot of people. It's not going to just affect the people who are in the UAW unions. It's going to affect all of the little guys and all of the little suppliers who supply to these people. It's your boy Hally. It's GVG. This is something different, but this is just real life. I just wanted to talk about this and touch on this because this is a real thing. This is something that people are going through. This is something that a lot of us have or are going to be affected by when this goes into effect. A lot of people are going to have to collect unemployment if this happens. And if they do end up giving them their demands, now all of those other little people who work for those little companies are going to say they up their pay $5 or $6 or $7. Are we going to continue to work at the same pay? Is the union steward going to say, well, our contracts aren't up till 2024 or 2025. So you expect all of those workers to work for the next 2 years at the same pay rate when everyone else has got a $5 or $6 raise? I don't think so. I don't think that is logical. I don't think that people are going to accept that. I think that you will have people walking out in record numbers. Record numbers. Time is running short to avoid this strike. Time is running short, and Shawn Fain is like a pit bull. He's a pit bull behind a fence, but the fence has a hole in it. And he's digging and digging. And once he gets out of that gate, out of that fence, you better run. Now, he understands that these union demands are a bit over the top, but he's looking at their profits. The union demands things. They want things because they are supposed to speak on behalf of the people. Now, understand that when you get these raises and you do get these things, the union is going to up how much they are taking from you also. Don't get it twisted now. When you do say, okay, we get a $5 raise, a $6 raise, a $7 raise. The UAW and most unions are going to come behind you and say, well, let me get $1 of that. Let me get $1.50 of that. Let me get 45 cents of that. Let me get something of that. So it's not like they're just fighting for the people to gain nothing. They're fighting for the people because they know that they stand to gain things also. Always understand that. The UAW wants a return of traditional pension payment plans. They also want retiree health care for all of the UAW members. See, anybody that was hired, I think the early 2000s, there was a certain year where they changed it. But the people who were hired before a certain time, they have their benefits. But a majority of the hourly workers who are working now, who are hired after a certain time, they don't have those benefits. So I can see them fighting for that. And the union also wants to see a return to cost of living adjustments. Because inflation happens and you still get the same amount of money, but everything goes up. So these are things that when GM and Chrysler and everyone was going bankrupt, that's when a lot of these things fell out the box. That's the crazy part about it. And I don't think a lot of these automakers want to ever do that again. They don't want to give people pensions because they don't want to say, yeah, you worked for me, so now I'm going to take care of you for the rest of your life. No, this is a new day where people don't want to do that anymore. So that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a real tough one right there. I just don't know what's going to happen. But I know that these automakers have started to spend billions of dollars on these electric vehicles. And we know that with EV, there's fewer moving parts than a gasoline powered car. So there's less labor to assemble. So what that means is less labor, less workers, less money. So if you work at a certain building, your whole building may be shut down. What's next? What's going to happen? The negotiations are going to take place. It's very close. A strike would be so costly to these automakers. You're talking about billions. And we're not talking about billions in a month or two. We're talking about billions in maybe 10 or 15 days. So that's where the standstill comes. Are we willing to give up these things? Or are we willing to lose the billions in the process of standing on who we believe that we are? The crap is about to hit the fan, people. I think there's a big chance of a strike because those people at the top are saying, we're not giving it to you. You're going to have to bite, fight, scratch, and claw to just get a little more than you already have right now. Shawn Fain is prepared to go on strike. The UAW is prepared to go on strike. I don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know is if they do go on strike, there are going to be a lot of people affected by this. There's going to be a lot of people who supply to the big three that are going to be affected by this. Buckle up, people. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're in the car. This your boy Hally. This Gvg Podcast. I love all of y'all. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you disagree. Tell me what you think about the union, their moves. Tell me what you think about the non-union people. Tell me what you think about the people who just got a job 3 months ago or 2 months ago and they are going to be affected by this union. Tell me what you think about inflation. Tell me what you think about them striking, making the car industry more expensive for the consumer. Tell me what you think about the people who are working on these cars who can't even afford to fix their own cars. I want to hear from you people. I want to hear from all of you because this is what we do. This is GVG. We are a family. I know that we're usually talking about the Most High God versus the little gods and the deities that we worship instead of him. But on today, we just want to hit you right where you are in this real life situation. It's your boy, Hally. We love all of y'all. Until next time, it's GVG Podcast, and we out. Thank you for being a part of this experience. GVG appreciates every single one of you. I hope you came away from this video with a little more perspective, patience, understanding, and purpose. So until next time, we on Christ time.